What's up everybody, MK Tom Brady here. In this video, we're going to take a good look at the Rain Combat Cast, and we're going to be breaking down all three of his tournament variations, as well as his universal attacks. So we're going to start with forward 2 here. This attack has 2 extensions. He can end with a low sweep, or he can end with an attack throw that will trigger a crushing blow if this move lands on counter hit. What's really good about this is it can kind of choose where you want to put the opponent. So for example, if your opponent was cornered, you'd probably want to end with the sweep to keep them cornered. But if you found yourself in or near the corner, you'd probably want to use the attack throw to reverse positions and corner your opponent. Or maybe you just need the damage and you landed it on a counter hit, so you use the attack throw extension just for the damage. Either way, this is really cool because he can choose damage or positioning, so it's really good for strategy. Now we're going to look at his normal attacks here, again with his kicks. So these are his kick normals. They have the wave extension on the end, which I really like. Then he has back 1-4. So this attack here, you can delay, and you can also choose which side you're going to go on. This is very good because not only is the delay great for stagger situations, like your opponent thinks you've staggered and then you finish the string and it hits them, but it's also again great for positioning. So again, this is something where if your opponent is in or near the corner, you'd probably want to do the kick going forward to keep them in that position. But if you found yourself cornered or near the corner, you'd probably want to do the kick to the other side to reverse positions. What's really good about this is it gives Rain a lot of freedom in the way a lot of his attacks are looking here so far, because the ability to manipulate positioning is a very powerful tool, and the fact that this is all universal throughout all 3 variations is really good. It gives all 3 variations great control over positioning throughout the course of the fight. Now we're going to look at Rain's throws. So his forward and back throw, as par for the course for most, not all, but most DLCs, will have a crushing blow attached to it if it gets loaded by the opponent failing a throw escape. So this is something that in general the jury is not very fond of. I don't even want to say the jury is out. The jury is definitely in. We don't like it because it's a guess with throw. So you have to guess forward throw or backwards throw. So to do that kind of massive damage, 30% on a 50-50, we're not really fond of. But it is par for the course for a lot of these DLC characters, so I guess it is what it is, and Rain kind of keeps that part of the DLC legacy. Now we're going to take a look at his world kick, or that's what it's being called. We would all know it as his roundhouse, but they call it his world kick now. So it's got a different animation than his traditional roundhouse, which you'll find in Shang Tsung's shape shifter variation. So here, if it's non-amplified, it just knocks them forward, so you get a knockdown. If you amplify it, it knocks them through the portal to the water realm and to the other side, and he gets a full combo. I really like that this is a universal attack. So oftentimes in this game, what has happened in the past is there are these universal specials that, well, specials that are not universal, I should say. There are these specials that should be universal, but end up not being universal. And they get attached to one variation, and this special is so complementary to that variation that it makes that variation head and shoulders above the other 2, to the point that people start saying there's no point in playing the other 2 because this special is just so strong. Using a special like this as a universal special throughout all 3 variations allows it to complement all 3 variations equally, so you don't have a situation where a move that's really powerful is really just powering one variation, and it puts that variation head and shoulders above the rest. It becomes universal now throughout all 3 variations. So again, it just adds to that freedom and diversity as the character. He's not limited through one variation or another because his universal attacks are so good. They're more complementary and for all 3 variations, as opposed to one variation having it and being the other 2 being limited as a consequence. So let's get into his water ball. So Rain's water ball is his armor breaker. So this is great to end combos with, because if they try to break away, you get a crushing blow off of it, because while they don't show it in the video, there is a crushing blow attached to this. If it's either hit from, it's kind of like Raiden's Electric Fly, where if you hit it at or near max range, it will trigger a crushing blow, or if it's his armor break. Again, something that's really, really good, and something the game, again, has also struggled to do, is give characters really, really good universal armor breaks ever since they introduced the tactic to the cast in general. Normally, you see either a character doesn't have an armor break, doesn't have a really good armor break, or it's only available in one variation, maybe two at most, and then sometimes you see the third or two or three of the variations struggle to deal with the breakaway mechanic for lack of a good armor break. The fact that this is universal is really, really good. Not only can he use it as in the ways we mentioned, he can also use it for like a, to kind of check you from range, make sure you're blocking, and the fact that it's an armor break and all three variations make use of this is really, really good. Again, it just gives him that, that complementary stuff. These type of universal moves should be complementary. It's made to, augment the character's variations, and special moves should not ever be limiting. Like, oh my gosh, one variation has one special move so powerful that the other two just can't really cut it in the competitive meta. Okay, now here's his projectile, which we covered in a previous video. I'm going to go a little more in depth on this. So he can throw it, and initially it's a high, and if it hits you, he can amplify it for a knockdown, which gives him good wake up, and it also does increase damage. However, he can amplify it just in general, whether you amplify it immediately or amplify it as it's traveling, and it then becomes a mid. Now, when it becomes a mid, it will not do as much damage as if it's a high, and also when it becomes a mid, you are not able to double amplify it and then get the extra damage. So as a high, it's going to do more damage in general, and you get the option for the extra damage for the amplify. As a mid, it's less damaging, and you don't have the option for the extra damage when you amplify it a second time. There's no double amplify on this. However, as a mid, it does knock down. So you see him ducking here, and as a mid, it knocks down. So you still get the knockdown situation. So either way, you have the option for a knockdown no matter which way you do it, which is, again, really, really good. And I like that this is a universal attack. And now this is the last of Rain's universal attacks, and this is his Evaporate. So this move here is completely invincible to both attacks and special or projectiles, I should say. I am not sure if you can throw him out of this. They did not say he can be thrown out of this, and it's completely invincible to other attacks. So I would assume even throws it's invincible to. The only way to really punish this, from what I was told, or what they said, was to basically you have to hit him out of the startup, or you have to punish him as he recovers. So apparently there is decent recovery. Again, they didn't go into the recovery frames. That's just something we have to wait and see until we actually get our hands on the game. But apparently there is going to be, I would assume there's a decent amount of recovery on this to balance this attack. But again, it is, once again, a universal attack. So far, a lot of the issues that have plagued a lot of characters as far as depth and diversity are not really plaguing Rain here. And this is really, really good, because more depth, more diversity equals a better all-around character and makes the character more enjoyable to use. Okay, so now we're going to look at his first variation, which is called Son of Argus. So these are like rifts, like rift slashes, where he's slashing and hitting you with rifts between this realm and the water realm. This will replace water bubble, I believe is what they said, although this is what I think they said. So I think this replaces water bubble. Now, in this right here, he has a lot of freedom in how this move is done. So he can use it airborne to go across the screen, angled downward. He can use it grounded. So this is like literally the definition of freedom, right? Because he can use this in so many different ways. So he can use it for great mobility, going back and forth for double amplify, just across the screen. He can use it at an angle while airborne. He can just do it, like I said, grounded in combos. Like, this is literally like as free as you can possibly get. This is really, really good how instead of limiting some of the specials like they've done in the past, they really kind of opened this one up and gave him a lot of freedom here with this. His next special in this variation is called his Portal. So this portal right here will completely absorb all projectiles. It's not a parry. He can set it up and have free reign and move around. And if you absorb, it didn't say 2 in a row. They just said 2. So if you absorb 2 projectiles, it will then load a crushing blow on his Rift Slash special. So really, really good that it doesn't require a 2 in a row just in general. At least that's what they said. So I'm going to go with that for right now. And I really, really like how he can set it up and still move. Once again, freedom, not being limited. He can set it up, absorb projectiles while still able to move and throw other projectiles or specials in general on the screen. I really, really like this because this is something where just in general, we see a lot of characters. Again, we talk about the lack of options, the lack of freedom, the fact that variations feel so limited across the board in the game that we have right now in the live version outside of a select few characters. And this is, you know, a lot of freedom that they give this character. Once again, it seems like every special he gets has a great amount of freedom to it. Okay, so now we're going to go to his Palm Strike. And this is going to be in his Demigod variation. So this is variation 2. This Palm Strike has a couple of good uses here. So they didn't say on counter hit it triggers a crushing blow. What they said was if you charge it for X amount of time, it will trigger a crushing blow. So looks like you can charge it, and if you charge it for X amount of time, it triggers the crushing blow. And you can also cancel it and just kind of like use it like as an evade. So as it turns out, the attack will come out unless you cancel. Now you can hold it, which will lead to the crushing blow get triggered, but if you don't cancel it, the attack is going to come out anyway. So very interesting. Again, multiple options. He's able to use this as a quick attack, hold it for a crushing blow, or cancel it for other options. I really, really like this attack here. Next in Demigod is his Splash. He had this move in MK9, and he can do this in combos, outside of combos. It grants really, really good advantage, and he can restand with it and then go in for a strike throw mix-up. So pretty much uses it the exact same way he used it in MK9. But I really, really like this attack, and I'm glad it made a return to the game. And now we're going to go into his Anti-Air Splash. So he has a grounded splash and an Anti-Air Splash. So if you jump, he can catch you, and he can amplify this for a full combo. Now notice right here, it reverse positions even, I believe it reverses positions even if you don't amplify it. I want to take a look at that again though. Yes, it does reverse positions even without the amplify. But if you amplify, it goes into a full combo. So if you look at it, it covers quite a bit of range here, right? So if you try to jump at him, it goes pretty high. So even characters that have these kind of crazy, like no hurt box on their attack jump-ins, the fact that this splash has no hurt box either is a great counter to a lot of those jump-ins. You think of moves like Cabal's Jump 2, etc., or some of Jackie's shenanigans with her leap. While Jackie does have a hurt box off of that, she still covers quite a bit of ground. You can catch her before she even gets near you. So this is really good for an anti-air in general, or to catch those characters that are usually able to kind of like abuse their jump-ins because of their collision or their lack of a hurt box on their attacks. Also, what I love is the freedom here. Because the roundhouse is a universal attack, or around the world kick as they call it now, you can double them up for increased damage. So again, what people have talked about in this game is lack of combo path, lack of combo creativity. It has been one of the major criticisms and one of the major gripes of this game is just lack of, freedom within the combo system. With a situation like this, you have almost unlimited freedom to kind of mix and match combos as you see fit for positioning, extra damage, pressure, setup, whatever you want to do. It gives you, or just plain swag. It gives you all of that, and this is something that we have not normally seen in the game thus far. Now we're going to move into his final variation, which is called Rain Check. Now this is the low tidal wave. This attack does hit low. I'm assuming both the normal and amplified version are double low. Now from what they said, the amplified version has a ton of active frames. It is active for 100 frames. So it's got a lot of active frames, so it's not easy to get around. It's something where you might think that you can kind of move forward as it's kind of like whiffing a little bit and it's still going to stay active. So it really allows Rain to occupy space with a ton of active frames, and it is a low. So again, really, really good, because if they're just walking back, you know, and you're at closer range and you want to check them for walking back, you can go ahead and use something like this, as well as using it from range in general if you want to use its active frames. Next we have here his another type of his water bubble. This is a different kind of water bubble here. They didn't say it replaces his in general water bubble, but I'm not really sure. But they called it his water bubble. So here's his classic water bubble from MK Trilogy, or MK9, so to speak, as well. So what's really good about this is it's a high, but they're showing how you can use the tidal wave as a way to kind of complement this. So if they're trying to duck this attack here because it's a high, you can use the tidal wave and kind of, you know, at closer range because it is low, you can use it and it will punish them for trying to duck. So they're just trying to show that example here, which is again one of the, I like how the synergy between this, in this variation, how the specials kind of complement. Now the water bubble has multiple things it can do. So if you amplify it, it will put the opponent in a bubble, and then you have control over how you want to move them. Do you want to keep them airborne and tug them towards you, put them over your head? Do you want to slam them on the ground? All of these things go to combo. So based on what type of combo or what kind of situation you're looking for, it again gives you that freedom. You may want to keep them airborne or put them over your head or slam them on the ground based on certain situations. This gives you that freedom. It gives you multiple options. You know, do I want to pull them, place them, slam them, etc., etc., etc. And it also allows you to end in a restand. So just multiple options here. And again, this is just something that not only does it give you options, something that has been lacking or criticized from variation to variation overall in this game, but again, it also adds to the combo path. You can probably do different combos based on different situations, based on where you put them, airborne, slam them, etc. Again, it gives you that freedom that we've been lacking in this game for so long. Overall, I'm really, really impressed by Rain. He has a great complement of universal attacks that augment all three of his variations, and the special attacks that are assigned to each individual variation also complement that variation really, really well. There's great synergy between how that variation is going to play and how those specials work with the character. I really, really like it. I know a lot of people are upset that his lightning is not a tournament variation, that is custom only, but I'm still really, really pleased with what I saw. Also, what this does confirm is custom will not be a tournament variation. In general, they will not have a custom option, because they wouldn't give you custom option and then make 3 tournament variations for Rain. So the fact that they stuck with the variation system in this combat cast tells me they're sticking with the variation system as far as the preset tournament variations, and we're not going customs. Either way, I'm really, really pleased with Rain, but let me know what you think. What do you think about the character? Were you happy, not happy? Were you looking to see something that you didn't? Were you pleased with everything that you did see? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks everybody for watching, and as always, stay tuned for more content.